It's always challenging when you're working in this genre and you're trying to come up with a sequel, because so much of the territory is so well trodden, and we have to find that sweet spot between surprising our fans and also providing the familiar experience that they want.
If you recall, the last time we went halfway around the world searching for a lost city, things got more than a little dicey.
Yeah, but this time we have the upper hand.
Uncharted 3 has some big shoes to fill. Uncharted 2, we were very lucky. We got like tons of awards for that game. It's sort of like, where do we go now, you know?
What the hell?
Let's do it.
I think what would surprise people is that when we set out to figure out what we're going to do with each new game, a lot of it is driven by practical concerns rather than just sort of purely creative ones. People probably imagine we sit there and just sort of blue sky story and things like that, and actually what we do is we think, all right, where have we not been? What technologies have we not pushed? What would challenge us as game developers? And what are some really awesome set pieces that would blow people's minds? And then we kind of write the story around that. And that sounds almost like an embarrassing admission, but I think it's the way it should be done.
All right, what is all this crap you're
why
giving
don't you
me
just
about
complain
Sully?
with me? Those guys are not here for historical research, and neither are you.
It's like right brain, left brain, where one part is like dealing with the aesthetics and what you're trying to go for creatively, and the other part, of course, is like how to realize that. And, you know, that's usually a lot of problem solving. So you have to kind of like bring those together in a way that you get the most bang for the buck and get things to really come alive in the game.
From the very beginning, when we're coming up with a story, it's not just Amy, it's Amy and myself and Justin and Taylor and Richard and other people putting in their 2 cents for ideas, and the entire company really participates in that process. But even then, once we get to the stage, it's Amy's script, but then it's the actors' own input into their characters that influences the way that we end up doing the performances.
Drake, we must go, now! Yalla! Never a dull moment, huh, Sully?
Why change now?
Yeah!
We want contributions from everybody. We carry that same philosophy onto the stage with the actors. We don't just go into the voice studio and stand an actor in front of a copy stand and a microphone and say, well, here's your lines, just read them. We shoot the story as if it were film or television or theater. And of course that means the actors get to sort of settle into their characters as well. They genuinely enjoy working together. And, you know, again, some of the best moments are completely improvised by them. And I will always give them credit for that. And some of the most sort of touching moments are because these aren't people that just met, you know. They've known each other for 5 years and they actually have this relationship.
You have these actors who have played these characters now for the 3rd game in a row, and they know these characters. They've helped build these characters really from scratch. It's really interesting to see them get to really kind of spread your wings isn't the right way to put it. These actors are getting a chance to sort of explore the corners of who these actors are, of who these characters are.
You can skip the mind games. You don't know me.
You know, if we come up with some ideas on the spot, you know, we'll try them out, and if they end up working, then we'll use them. I mean, probably one of the best examples of that is even from the first game when Nolan and Emily had a scene where Elena's character had just caught up with Nathan Drake's character and she was pissed off, and we ran the scene a few times, and Emily just said, hey, you know, I feel like I should hit him here. And, you know, it wasn't in the script, but we thought, yeah, okay, that might actually be funny. So, you know, we get in the scene and she does this like, and, you know, of course it worked great, and that ended up making it into the final cinematic in Uncharted 1. And that kind of stuff happens all the time.
If you just watch their faces when they're saying a line, there's the essence of it right there. Now, we don't just kind of mimic it, but that is our reference. That is where, you know, that's what we kind of, that's our launching off point. And then we take that and we enable our animators to interpret that in the way that's gonna serve us best.
He's not here.
We do not do and never have done any facial animation capture. There's a number of reasons for that. We actually looked into a couple of possibilities when we were first working on Uncharted 1, but ultimately it ends up giving us more limitations than it does flexibility. We have some phenomenal animators back in the office that can really craft the performances to be exactly what we want them to be. And when you're working with facial capture, you know, you're just kind of stuck with what you got, and you got to spend all this time cleaning it up to get to where you want it to be. So why not just do what you want from the get-go?
God, what a dick, right? Come on. We gotta find a way out of here fast.
We're completing the performance that was started on the stage. You know, we have amazing actors who give us these incredible little vignettes of, you know, scenes that are very personal, and I love the energy that they have with each other, and we need to make sure that what they started is completed.
Nate, just who are we dealing with here?
Working on the third outing in a series, you have to think about, you know, how are you changing things up? And you want to do it in ways that are meaningful, but sometimes you arrive at them in ways that are sort of simple and obvious. And one of the things that immediately occurred to us is it'd be more interesting to see a female antagonist this time.
Same cocky little shit. So fearless. I wonder what you're really afraid of.
And it'd be more interesting to have a antagonist who was more cerebral and therefore challenged Drake in different ways.
You get off on all this, don't you? Cheating death.
It's a very different character to try to write. It's actually a much harder character to try to write, and it was a much harder character to cast. And thank God we found Rosalind Ayers, because she brought something really unusual, I think, to the character.
I'm sorry, Nathan. It seems you've been removed from the equation.
It's been a lot of fun to have a female villain, and she's kind of wicked.
Catherine!
She gets into your head, and she wants to know what makes you tick, and she wants to know what you're afraid of, and she'll find out.
But she's also, like, sweet, and it's very unnerving in a good way. That's I think what makes her a good villain is that she's prim and proper and wicked.
Yes, it is regrettable, but
Not regrettable. Sloppy.
One of the things you want to do is delve more into Drake and his background and his personality, his relationship with Sullivan, how that came to be. But also, it says something about his past, says something about how he is in the present, just like it does for all of us, right?
I just want to make sure we're doing this for the right reasons. You got your pride all tangled up in this thing. It's making you reckless. I taught you better than that.
I've always perceived Drake as someone who has some issues about loss and abandonment, and, you know, therefore keeps people at arm's distance. And when things get too real, he's real good at being the hero, but when things get too real, he might make himself scarce. We don't know people like that in real life, do we? No.
we've been trying to reach you for over 24 hours.
Oh, right, I need to top up my minutes.
You're using a prepaid phone?
Mate, those contracts are a complete rip-off.
What? Mine's broken.
I've been working with Amy and Taylor on the Uncharted games since the very beginning, right? And the three of us have this rapport and communication that enable us to really collaborate and work together and get the best possible results from each other.
Come on, admit it. You love all this as much as I do.
Naughty Dog is, I think, very unusual in the fact that we've actually grown to be a pretty large developer, but we've retained that sort of garage shop mentality and really collaborative spirit and a very, very flat hierarchy. There's not a lot of management or order or organization. You know, it's mostly just sort of seat of the pants chaos, to be honest.
Well.
It's cute.
What?
Because it's a well.
Shall we?
We don't have like a typical structure where we have a producer that kind of goes around and coordinates all the various aspects of the game.
And ultimately, what you see in the end result in the cinematics is really the product of dozens of different people's ideas and vision. It's not just one person saying it's my way or the highway. Everything goes in.
It's hard, I think, as a writer to say, all right, everybody just trust me and come along on this journey with me, while you yourself are terrified that, you're hoping that all of these ideas coalesce.
You are a crafty little beggar, aren't you?
I know how to take care of myself.
On the other hand, part of, I think, the experience and the act of faith in yourself is, well, I've been doing this for 22 years, and I've always pulled it off, that you as a creator and a writer, as well as trusting in the people around you, that the right answers will be there when you need them.
It's going to be really gratifying when this thing that seemed like it was going to be impossible to do actually happens, and we just sort of rain that down on the fans, and that's going to be sort of an amazing, amazing moment, I think. I'm looking forward to that.
Perfect. Here we go.